Hello and welcome to the first ever Retro Odyssey recap. Before I go any further, why don't you take a look at the next 10 games that I'm going to be reviewing. So coming up, we've got Ganbare Goemon, Metroid, Adventure Island, Castlevania, King Kong 2, Kid Icarus, Layla, Hinotori, Dragon Buster, and to cap it off, The Legend of Zelda 2, The Adventure of Link. In this video, I'm going to recap my experience filming the first 10 reviews and just kind of how things have been with the channel. I'm also going to rank the games that I've played so far and to a tier list. And I'm going to give you a little preview of what's to come with Season 2, or the next 10 games of Retro Odyssey. Can you toss me a water? I'm feeling quite thirsty. So, if you don't know, I started the process of thinking about doing this series in 2015. And it's been a long time coming. This was a Yu-Gi-Oh channel before, and I always wanted to get back into the YouTube game, but the timing wasn't right. And also, prior to this, I have zero film or video editing knowledge. And so I've had to learn everything kind of by myself for this. I film myself, I edit myself, I buy the games myself. It's kind of just like a one-man band over here. But it's been a lot of fun, and I have learned so much already in the first 10 reviews. Obviously, there is some other content on the channel, and there will always be other content, because I like, having an outlet to post thoughts about things. But the backbone is always going to be long-running retro reviews. It's been kind of hard to keep myself from playing games that I've been interested in for a long period of time, because I knew that I was going to want to review them eventually for Retro Odyssey. So like a lot of Sega Saturn classics, a lot of Genesis classics, a lot of Super Nintendo classics, I've avoided for like the past 5 years since I started to kind of get into the idea of playing retro games, because I was like, no, I should save it for the project. But now the project's here, and it feels good. It's been about a month since my last actual game review, and part of that was because it took a while to get the next 10 games in. And also just things have been a little busy, but I've been filming a lot. I just haven't been filming the actual review parts a lot, or the in-person parts. There are a lot of channels out there that I greatly admire. A lot of content that I like to watch. I watch a lot of YouTube, and so that's part of the reason why I wanted to create again, just because I enjoy content, and I wanted to make more of the kind of content that I feel like I would like to see. The footage for Excitebike, I actually sat on that for over a year before finally posting that video. And it sat uploaded onto YouTube for around 7 months before I officially posted that. I don't know, it's just been this long drawn out thing, and it's kind of taken a lot to push myself to do it. And before I go any further, a couple of quick shout outs. Xmodable. Okay, where's my phone? I need to get these names right. Can you hand me my phone? Xmodable, Jake the Snake, Serial Commander, Samuel Bao, or hold up, Samuel Ba. I apologize if I'm pronouncing that wrong. You dudes who keep commenting on every video bring me so much joy and energy. And, anyone who watches these, I love comments. I love feedback and, thoughts. And so you guys who are watching, and like I don't need like a really large audience. It feels really good that some people are getting some enjoyment out of this because I get enjoyment out of it. So, but yeah, about other channels, I reached out to so many people, I feel like, because I just wanted to get like some thoughts from people who I admired. I think I reached out to Jeremy Parrish's channel, Happy Console Gamer. I reached out to Hard for Games, and I heard something back, but then he never got back. And then I don't know, like just a former Game Explain guy who I admire. I've actually been mentioned on their channel once a long time ago, back for Zelda Triforce Heroes for the scavenger hunt stuff. But you know, it's kind of hard to get anyone to care or pay attention to you. And I mean, that makes sense. There's, you know, you have to give people a reason, right? But yeah, it's been a learning experience, and I kind of am on my own with this. And so it's kind of up to me how far I'm going to take it. And, you know, when I made my first list of games that I wanted to review specifically for the Nintendo Entertainment System and the family computer, that is like 150 plus games long. And I've already chopped some games. I was planning originally to review Devil World and Binary Land and Clue Clue Land and the Popeye game. Some of these games I didn't have enough to say, you know, when I played them. And I didn't want to be, you know, one of those channels that's just constantly dunking on games like, oh, this game's so bad. Oh, look how bad it is. I did that a little bit with Ghosts and Goblins, but it is still a fun game. But, you know, the first 10 games have been really eye-opening. As far as just what the system is capable of, and like how advancements are like already being made. As far as like, you know, I've got the Famicom disk system right here, and 4 of the next 10 games I'm excited I'm going to review the disk version of those games. But yeah, just learning about like lighting and, you know, how to use a real camera and aperture, shutter speed, how to film a TV screen without it looking like blurry and still retaining that sort of pixelated nature, but not having those constant banding and waves like going through your picture. But like still that little line looks pretty crisp to me. But you know, that's fun. Another thing, I think like some people have commented that I stutter or stammer too much, or there's too much filler, like but that sort of thing. I don't write scripts for these. I think about them, and I have like bulleted lists so that I don't forget anything usually. But I'm not just like sitting here like, yeah, this and this. And when you think about it, this game actually really is, you know, it's just like, I kind of cringe a little bit when I get too far into that video game essay sort of realm of YouTube. Just like the really sort of contrived, fake sounding stuff. I don't know. Like there's one small channel I admire, and it's called Dustin Christ. It's just his name. And I think his profile picture is just I think he's in my featured channels. But I think his profile picture is just like a Peanuts version of him, like Charlie Brown Peanuts. And all he does is he sits down and talks about games, and I always liked hearing his thoughts. And so, you know, I wanted to do something kind of off the cuff like that, but still, you know, I guess in a sense I'm still figuring out what I want to do. One thing I was sure of though was that I didn't want to be another channel that has like, what should the background be? Wall of games, just a wall of games. It's just, how many walls of like plastic can you look at? You know, I realize the irony in saying that because I'm so focused on the physical for my channel. But that's just because there's not a lot of this. There's not a lot of covering physical Famicom cartridge games, disk system games, Famicom versions. There's a lot of content in English for NES. But there's not a lot of content in English on YouTube, at least, for Famicom stuff. It's a lot more limited. And to me, it's just the system looks nicer. It looks cooler. And so I was drawn to it. So that's a little bit about how things have been as a channel. But I do want to kind of go through and talk about each game one at a time and just kind of like how I've felt about them sitting on them for a little bit. So Excitebike, I feel like I've played that. I played it so many times getting ready to review it for this. And it's one of those games that feels very rough at first. But once you learn how to play it, it feels fun. And like you want to pick it up and you want to play it more. There's a lot of skill in Excitebike and getting really good. Whereas some of these games can cap your skill a little bit. Excitebike is one of those games that might be a lot of fun to speedrun. Balloon Fight, I've wanted to, like there's not much to delve into, but the balloon trip mode is a mode that I still find myself going back to play. And it's still a game that like, I just really admire how it looks. It has a good look and it has a good feel. The physics are fantastic. Probably the best physics of any of the games I've played so far. Ice Climber was like one of those games that like I had heard so much bad stuff about, and I wanted to go in searching for the good, and I did get like a hefty amount of like, okay, the clipping is rough. You have to learn how to jump to like where the collision is because it just is not accurately shown on the game screen. But playing through that game, I think as far as recording goes, that's where I kind of hit kind of like closer to what I wanted to do. It still wasn't like fully there. Like Excitebike is almost purely just me talking and experimental and just kind of like getting it out, like doing one. Cause like it had been in my head for so long. Balloon Fight, I was like, okay, I need to put more gameplay in here. I have a lot of stuff I want to do. And then Ice Climber, I started to feel more comfortable. Mario Bros is like one of my favorites that I've done so far just because I feel like it's very chill. There's not too much gameplay. There's actually less than Balloon Fight or Ice Climber. It's just kind of me talking about my experience with Mario Bros. And I think that I like that kind of back and forth. I like the idea of like maybe one where I'm talking more and then, I don't know. It's all subject to change. But that was also the time where I switched to a microphone in the shot, and after only posting 3 videos and getting like 15 views on each, it was kind of hard to justify buying this. But audio is really important, and I wanted to have the kind of audio quality that you could comfortably listen to without compromise, that you could put on in your car or something. Because I feel like I listen to a lot of YouTube videos like while I'm driving, while I'm commuting to work and such. But Sky Destroyer is where I felt like I started to really get a handle on editing more. I had shot the background as like more blue color, and I remember for that it was like that game was really hard, first of all. But it was cool because I was starting to play with the sort of green screen features and like having things like be in different layers, and I was learning kind of like the pitfalls of working with that sort of stuff. And then like I felt like I was starting to get into my groove a little more, And then Bomberman, though, the Bomberman video kind of in a way feels like my first just complete package where like I felt like I talked about everything I wanted to talk about. It was concise. I loved the gameplay that I had captured, felt crisp. And I was really proud of that one. I remember I tried sharing that a little bit, and it was doing noticeably better than my other videos had done. But then the first video to take off was really the Zelda video. And Sean Malstrom, a lot of people subscribed to me because someone emailed Sean Malstrom, who is a video game blogger that I had not heard of up until this point. And he posted my video on his blog, and I was getting just so much traffic compared to what I would normally get. I mean, it was like, it cracked 500 views like naturally. And I was just like, wow, okay. Like I was through the roof. Like I was just watching analytics, like looking at people, watch that video. because I put so much work into that video, and this game just really blew me away. I mean, it was incredible, and I didn't think it was possible. Like, it's not the kind of game that you can play for 5 minutes and like you can't see the potential. You can't see how good it can be in a short period of time. And when you actually sit down to beat it, it's just like, it was an enlightening experience. And it was so cool to see other people enjoy that as well. And, I checked Malstrom's blog, and he has an email section, and maybe I just am bad at looking for stuff. I wanted to send him an email thanking him, but I didn't see it. And so anywhere on the site, like, I looked pretty hard. And I also liked his old man advice section that he had. I read several articles, and specifically his Everything is Fake article. That really resonated with kind of how I've been feeling about things for, the past 5 years or so, just like as I've grown and like as I've learned. I got another degree, I learned new skills, and I just started to like notice this sort of fakeness in everything. And so that was a really cool post on his blog. I think it was an older post, but anyway, if you have his email, please let me know what it is, just so I can send him like a thank you note, because I really appreciate that he replied to that. And whoever actually sent that to him, thank you so much. It really gave me the boost that I needed. I really needed a boost, so thank you. So after Zelda Dragon Quest, that was like a longer game, and since I got like 3.5 hours in and bumped my cartridge and had to start over, that was not my favorite. But the game itself, it was also one that I had tried playing before, because I had tried to do this before, and I just didn't have the tools. It just wasn't good enough. And I've had to kind of like move past things needing to be perfect, but also like I've had to reach a standard that I'm like, that's acceptable, So, but Dragon Quest, I had a lot of fun playing, and the composer Sugiyama just passed away recently. And so that was interesting, because like when I did put it up on the TV, I was thinking, I was like, it's like dun, 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 dun. It just seems like thinking about playing that, like if you're a kid or you're in your teens or even in your 20s or 30s and you're living in Japan in the 80s and that game drops and you hear that music, it's elevated. And so I know the man himself, there's some controversy behind him, and I don't know too much about that, but I can certainly appreciate that music, and it's fantastic. Bird Week. Bird Week was like a game. I like birds a lot. I have a bird feeder. Lots of seeds. I love birds, and I love cockatiels, and I want to own a bird someday. I just know that I can't accommodate for a bird in the way that I would like to. I would like to have a big wide open space, and I would like to have more than one bird so that the bird didn't attach to me as its partner, because that feels unfair. So I love birds, and I wanted to play a bird game, and I saw Bird Week, and I was like, literally, what is this? And I played it, and that was my worst performing video by far, but you can anticipate more like games that people don't talk about, haven't heard of, because I think there's value in covering that. I used to watch a lot of classic game room Undertow, and I liked seeing games that like, who else would talk about this game? Rest in peace to that channel, because it was fantastic. I miss it. But, I want to cover some of those games myself. And so, you can expect more random kind of games. Like, I think the next game that's coming up that people don't really talk about in my next batch, you don't hear a lot of people talk about, and I haven't played these games, so I can't really speak whether they're good or not. But King Kong 2, Hinotori, Layla, and Dragon Buster, I feel like those are not games that are talked about very often. Maybe Dragon Buster is, since it's a Namco title, but I'm not totally sure. So anyway, maybe let's rank these guys. Okay, I realize that I'm blocking the light a little bit here, but I'm not going to adjust it. I originally wanted to use Tiermaker, that site that everyone has been talking, or everyone posts videos for ranking everything, you know? But if you want to make your own, you need a Twitter. I don't have a Twitter. So I reached out to my friend who does have a Twitter, and I was like, hey, I know this is annoying, but do you think you could help me out with this and make an account for me? And so he sends me a screen cap of the terms and conditions. Like, get a load of this. To drag JPEGs into rows, this application will be able to see tweets from your timeline, including protected tweets, as well as your lists and collections. See your Twitter profile information and account settings. See accounts you follow, mute, and block. So it's like they can see everything. But then here we go. Follow and unfollow accounts for you. Update your profile and account settings. Post and delete tweets for you. And engage with tweets posted by others. Like, unlike, or reply to tweet, retweet, etc. for you. Like, you're just handing them your whole account. Okay. Create, manage, and delete lists and collections for you. Mute, block, and report accounts. They can mass report account. Like, this is so ridiculous. And then lastly, see your email address. And you never want to give anyone your email address ever. Mine is certainly not my channel name at gmail.com. Okay. I just thought that was crazy. Just crazy. So anyway. Okay. Let's rank these bad boys. So Balloon Fight is certainly not F tier. It is, I guess I should talk about what the tiers mean. C would be average, even though that doesn't kind of add up. I feel like very few will make it to S and few in A. So C is average. B is, well, C could be above average. The top of C is like pretty good. B is like kind of like great tier. I'd say like that's a great game. A is like an amazing game. And S is just like knocks you on your butt. Really good game. F is this is the thing too. Just because a game is in like F or D doesn't mean that I wouldn't play it or wouldn't recommend you try it. It's just like, okay, look, this game sucks. It's bad. I can't say it's better than that. Okay, so I'd say Balloon Fight. I'm going to start. I should probably start it in C, and I'll probably adjust this as I go along. You know, like as I add more games that I've played in this library, it's going to affect the way that things are placed already. So all of this is subject to change with future Retro Odyssey recap videos. So I'll start Balloon Fight in B because I feel like that's a great game. Balloon Trip is a mode anyone could get into. The 2-player is fun, and I really enjoyed my time with that. So, B. Okay, Bomberman. I think it's B as well. I think, okay, this is tough because I am going to count the rankings like within here, you know? I think that I would list it as being better than Balloon Fight for now. Balloon Trip is something anyone can get into, but for me, the fun and the highs of playing Bomberman, I think were higher than they were maybe equal. I don't know. But the thing is, Bomberman doesn't have any sort of like sentimental value attached to it. And I really admire Iwata. And so I feel like I might be giving a little bit of an unfair edge to Balloon Fight. So I'm going to leave Bomberman right there. Bird Week. The sprites are good. It's just a bad game, and it's very difficult. And I think it's funny because people don't talk about how hard that game is because they play it for 5 minutes and they don't care about beating it. If you were trying to make it through all 36 stages, this game is just about impossible. And to sell that as a family game, I don't think so, buddy. I'll start it in D. I'll probably drop it to F though. But you should still try it. You should still play it. Dragon Quest. I'm going to tell you right now, it's not A. This game does a lot of things really well, and it's a trailblazer, but I'm kind of loading up on the B's here, but I think this is going to go in B. I think just because of how absolutely unlike the other games, like just as far as like the scope and what they are attempting to do with this game, its sheer ambition in comparison, I think that it has to be above Bomberman. But it's so obvious, even playing any other JRPG, how that it can be so obviously improved, that I think that it does not reach that A tier. Okay, so Excitebike, as I said earlier, this game, you have to learn how to play it. And I think that to some people in the right hands, this could be even A tier. But I think I'm going to keep it as like, it's very good, but it's not quite as accessible. And if you grew up with this game, that might not be an understandable complaint, but it just, as far as how it controls and the difficulty and the amount of time you have to keep going, yes, you can select everything right away just about, but it's not, I don't know. Like when you're going fast and you know the track, it's very satisfying to the point where I kind of want to put it in B. And then like, I feel like if you are a pro at this game, it could be A, but I'm going to put it, for me, it's C. And it does have Track Creator, which is crazy for the time that you can edit levels, but this is tough actually. The thing is though, it takes so long to get into it, and it was such a turnoff for me at first. And maybe that shouldn't be held against it, but, and like this means I would say it's a great game. I just, I don't know if I would put it in the same tier as these three. I feel like there needs to be a little differentiation, or else I'm just going to end up putting everything in B. So that's where I put my foot down. This is C. Ghosts and Goblins is a lot of fun. And it's just like if Ghosts and Goblins was fair, it could be B, it could be A. But it's just loaded with so much garbage and just so much unfair shenanigans. I can't put it any higher. Ice Climber, okay. This feels C as well. It's less offensive than Ghosts and Goblins, but I just love knights in armor and stuff and castles. I don't know. Maybe it should go in front because Ghosts and Goblins just does so many things. I'll put it behind for now. I feel like this feels right. Sky Destroyer. As a game, it is better than Bird Week, but it fails in a lot of ways. I think it's just too hard. Yeah. Okay, so these are easy. Mario for me was A tier. Like, I kind of wanted it to be that S tier game, and I do have a history with this game and enjoying it, but you should watch my review for my full thoughts on this game, but you know, I just, my tone sounds like I didn't enjoy it, but I love this game and I have played it since. And, every time you play it, it kind of becomes a little bit more fun, at least for me. But it's not that like greatest of all time contender for me. But it is so obviously amazing and just, you know, You got to pay respects. I'm not going to just put something up there because I'm paying respects to something. That's not how I operate. I do think this is a better game than Dragon Quest, Bomberman, and Balloon Fight. But I guess like when you hear it talked about so much, you want it to be like that S tier sort of game. And for me, Zelda was that game. It's not close to me as far as like, if you're talking about the original Mario versus the original Zelda is just next level. So should I drop this down? Got a nice little bell curve with that. I'll leave it at that for now. And I'll also stop this recording, click, and I'll take this off my desk. So there you have it, the first ever Retro Odyssey recap. I'm going to do one of these every season. So that's going to be every 10 to 12 episodes or so. If there's like, it's probably 10 standard, but if like it feels like the natural cutoff's at 11 or 12 or even like 9 or 8 sometimes, maybe I'll do that. But every period of time, maybe like as the seasons change, we're in fall now, we're out of summer, it started in summer, I'm going to do a recap. And, I would love to increase the amount of videos that I'm able to pump out. Given my current situation with how busy I am, that's going to be difficult, but I'm still going to try. Thanks to everyone for tuning in. Thanks to all the people who continue to comment on these videos. It makes me, I would love to hear from anyone who's watching in silent. I love that. So it's been good. And, I kind of don't know what to say. It's been good and it's been difficult too. Learning about, managing your own expectations to an extent. The amount of work that it takes to make something that I'm proud of, and knowing when to stop and just like let it be and just get it out and to move on to the next thing. I think it helps in more facets of life than just this. But it feels good to have an outlet like this again that's kind of like my own, and I kind of get to do whatever I want with it. And I'm just so thankful for everyone else who continues to watch, and the numbers aren't big, but it means a lot to me. So thank you. And thanks for watching. And I'm excited to play more games. So peace.